The year is at 67. A torchlit procession winds through the cedar groves outside Antioch. 70 young women, all between 14 and 20, walk barefoot in pure white linen. Their hair is unbound, their heads crowned with myrtle, the ancient sign of virginity. Tonight was supposed to be their bridal night, not to any man, but to Christ himself. They had taken the vow of perpetual virginity, the first recorded brides of Christ in church history. But the torches are not carried by deacons. They are carried by Roman soldiers, and the man who ordered this procession is not a priest. He is Nero Caesar. What happened to these 70 virgins over the next 7 days was so horrific that the early church fathers refused to write the details. Only fragments survived, hidden in private letters, a single line in Eusebius, a coded paragraph in Clement of Alexandria. They buried the story on purpose, because some truths are too evil to remember, and some faith is too bright to forget. If you've ever wondered why the early church grew explosively under Rome's worst persecution, you're about to meet the reason. Antioch, the third largest city in the empire, the place where believers were first called Christians. I had 67. The church here numbers over 30,000. Hundreds of young women, inspired by Paul's words in 1 Corinthians 7, choose lifelong virginity for the sake of the kingdom. They live in consecrated houses, weave linen for the poor, copy scripture by hand, fast 3 days a week. The pagans mock them as the unshowered ones because they refuse marriage and perfume. But secretly, half the city is in awe. Then Nero's paranoia reaches Syria. After the Great Fire of Rome in 64, he needs scapegoats. A letter arrives from the imperial court. Send me 70 of the Christian virgins. Let Rome see what their God does when his brides are in my hands. It happens during the Agape feast. The virgins are singing Psalm 45. The royal daughter is all glorious within. The doors explode inward. Roman centurion Fabius Maximus, the same man who later burned Christians as living torches, reads the imperial warrant. Mothers scream. Fathers are beaten unconscious. 70 girls, some still clutching their palm leaf gospels, are bound with ropes around their wrists like common criminals. Their white robes are torn for sport. One girl, Thecla of Iconium, yes, that Thecla, Paul's disciple, is among them. She is 19. She will become the most famous female saint most Protestants have never heard of. They are marched 400 miles to Rome, barefoot, in winter. 11 die on the road from cold and beatings. 59 arrive alive. Nero stages a mockery of a Roman wedding in the Circus Maximus. The girls are stripped naked, painted with pitch and gold dust, crowned with thorns dipped in myrrh. Nero himself sits on a purple throne wearing a bridegroom's wreath. Drunk on power, over 7 nights, he devises contests to see which girl will break first and deny Christ. Night 1, they are offered freedom if they will burn 1 pinch of incense to Diana. All 70 refuse. Night 2, they are locked in the temple of Venus with the most notorious male prostitutes of Rome. Not one is defiled. Thecla preaches the entire night, until the men fall weeping at her feet. Night 3, wild beasts are loosed. None touch them. Night 4, they are tied to pillars and flogged until the flesh hangs in ribbons. Still they sing. Night 5, crucifixion rehearsal. They are nailed to wooden beams for hours, then taken down while still alive. Night 6, the worst night. Nero orders the soldiers to break their vow without killing them. The details are coded in the apocryphal Acts of Paul and Thecla. Many were grievously misused that night, that none received the seed of man. Early church tradition says angels blinded the soldiers or struck them impotent the moment they tried. Night 7. Silence. 59 girls, bleeding, half naked, unable to walk, are carried on shields into the arena one last time. Nero offers a final choice: deny Christ or die. The youngest, a 14-year-old named Agatha, lifts her head and answers for all of them. We have kept our bodies for the heavenly bridegroom. Do your worst, Caesar. Our wedding night is coming, and you are not invited. Nero loses his mind. He orders every form of death at once: fire, beasts, swords, crucifixion. The arena becomes a slaughterhouse. But something happens Rome never forgot. As the first torches touch the pitch on their bodies, the girls begin to sing, not in Greek, not in Aramaic, but in Hebrew, some 23 in perfect unison. Roman historians record that a wind rose from nowhere and blew the flames back onto the soldiers. Many legionaries threw down their torches and fled. The beasts sat down and refused to attack. The executioners' swords allegedly shattered. 59 bodies eventually fell, but not one screamed, not one cursed, not one denied the name. Within weeks, the story spreads like wildfire across the empire. Tertullian later writes, "The blood of the virgins became seed." Thousands of pagan women convert and take the same vow. Consecrate virginity explodes across the church for the next 400 years. Nero dies a year later, suicide, despised, his body eaten by dogs. The Roman Empire falls. But every time a nun takes solemn vows to this day, she is spiritually descending from those 70 girls in Antioch. Their names were deliberately erased, so that no cult would form. Only the example would remain. But one fragment survived. In the catacombs of St. Calixtus, archaeologists in 1894 found a single fresco, barely visible. 70 small white doves flying upward from a pool of red. Beneath it, scratched with a stylus, 4 Greek words: "The virgins conquer." So the next time someone says Christianity spread by the sword, remember the 70 barefoot girls who walked for 100 miles to face Nero with nothing but white robes and a promise. An empire with legions, reigns, and absolute power lasted for 100 more years. Their faith outlasted it by 2,000 and counting. They never held a sword. They never wrote a book. They never ruled a city. But they defeated Caesar, because sometimes the weakest hands, when clasped in prayer, pull down stronger walls than any battering ram. And sometimes the real bride of Christ wears scars instead of silk, and her wedding song sounds like defiance in the dark. Drop a comment. Could you have walked barefoot to Rome for him? Most of us couldn't. That's why we still need their blood speaking louder than ours ever will. Turn on notifications, because next time we're going to the arena with Perpetua and Felicitas, to mothers who made Rome weep.